Guys, Red Editing Bit here, and we are back with some more SCP readings. We are on to SCP-42, a formerly winged horse. SCP-42, Object Class, Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-42 is currently housed within a minimum security Paddock 12 at Bioresearch Area 32. Despite SCP-42's seeming disinclination to attempt to escape at this point, security measures must still be maintained at all times. Previous attempts to maintain the health of the ground cover in Paddock 12 had failed to date. Despite regular watering, SCP-42's presence leave the ground parched wherever it treads. As it has not been determined what happens to added water, the program of watering has been discontinued as unnecessary and potentially hazardous to the local water table. Monitoring of local well levels and sampling of the area's water is to be carried out on a weekly basis. Personnel interacting with SCP-42, including any handlers, medical professionals, feeders, and custodial staff, must submit to a thorough search, including data redacted, prior to entrance into Paddock 12. Any personnel attempting to smuggle a weapon or an object that can be used as a weapon is to be immediately data redacted. Personnel are to undergo psychological screening once per week after interacting in any way with SCP-42. Medical personnel examining the wounds on SCP-42's back are to be closely monitored at all times, lest they attempt to euthanize SCP-42. Description: SCP-42 is an animal believed to be a member of the genus Echus. Its coat is white in color, with some small brown spotting. It stands at 183 centimeters, 18 hands, to its withers and weighs 710 kilograms. Its weight has dropped significantly since it's been in Foundation custody, due to both atrophy from lack of physical activity and refusal to eat. The liquid nutrient diet forcibly administered keeps it alive, but it remains emancipated and weak. SCP-42 exhibits two large bone protrusions from its back, linked to powerful musculature, now atrophied, throughout its back. These bones end at 37 centimeters from the surface of its back, and they protrude from the skin at open, jagged wounds. To date, no healing has been observed for these wounds, although some clotting must be taking place for SCP-42 to not have bled out. SCP-42 exhibits a listless demeanor and has been unresponsive to any attempts by skilled handlers to incite activity. If allowed to do so, SCP-42 will lay on the ground immobile, not moving to eat, drink, or even relieve itself. Pain response conditioning has proved somewhat effective in getting SCP-42 to rise so that it can be cleaned, but eventually it will attempt to lay down again no matter the strength of the shock administered, even to the point of losing consciousness. Researchers are divided as to SCP-42's level of intelligence. While some believe it's simply an animal, no smarter than others of its genus, others have come to believe that it may in fact be sapient. It has been shown to make eye contact with persons entering Paddock 12, most of whom describe its looks as pleading. SCP-42 has been involved in accidents on multiple occasions where it has been injured on pieces of equipment or its enclosure, which those arguing for intelligence believe to be intentionally caused by SCP-42. Addendum: a request was submitted by Dr. P to transfer SCP-42 to Bioresearch Area 4 on blank blank 19 blank, which was approved by 055. Dr. P altered transportation documents to indicate that SCP-42 was to be airlifted rather than transported by armed convoy. During transit, Dr. P overpowered the pilot of the transport aircraft and took controls, plunging the craft into a steep dive. Passengers and cargo experienced nearly a minute of weightlessness before security personnel regained control of the aircraft and leveled off. As Dr. P was being bound and the plane landed, SCP-42 broke free of containment and kicked 2 security personnel to death in the cargo area. Cargo-based security footage shows that after this point, SCP-42 approached Dr. P and touched its muzzle to his face. Dr. P exhibited signs of euphoria while contact was maintained, but when additional security personnel subdued SCP-42 with tranquilizer darts and contact was broken, he collapsed into a catatonic state from which he did not recover. After a hearing concerning his actions, Dr. P was euthanized while under Foundation medical care on blank blank 19 blank. So, it's a weird horse that does weird things and is depressed and wants to die, but it might have had wings at some point in the past. Which, always pretty cool. So, we are on to SCP-43, the Beetle. SCP-43. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-43 requires no special containment, although it is recommended that SCP-43 not be used for purposes other than testing. A turntable is to be maintained in the same room for testing. Description: SCP-43 appears to be a vinyl copy of The White Album by the Beatles. However, upon closer inspection, the record has no grooves. In spite of this, the record will play from start to finish regardless of the starting point of the needle. When the 29th track is reached, instead of playing Revolution 9, the disc stops spinning and faint breathing can be heard. Occasionally, the entity responsible for the breathing will speak in a male voice. The entity will respond to questions and shows a profound encyclopedic knowledge of the music industry, musical theory, and obscure trivia about many bands and artists. However, the entity refuses to answer questions regarding the Beatles or its own personal details. Inside the jacket, a small handwritten note was found, reading, "Limited edition, 1 of 1. Thanks, John." And that is the Beetle. Weird, isn't it? Probably one of the shortest ones they have on here. So, on to SCP-44, World War II era molecular fission cannon. SCP-44, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. A constant stream of hydrogen ions, unbound oxygen atoms, and other trace-free radicals emanate from the muzzle of SCP-44 at all times. Because of this, the docking stations of SCP-44 are to be well ventilated to keep dangerous gases and moisture from accumulating. Muzzle coverings are to be fitted at all times to keep birds and small insects and animals from investigating the large open barrel of SCP-44. Addendum: blank blank 2000 and blank. As SCP-44 has not been involved in any significant issues in the blank years it has been held by the Foundation, SCP-44 has been reclassified as safe. Must I really define significant incidents? If the containment procedures and standard safety protocols are followed, 44 appears to be no more different and dangerous than any other big blank gun. The bear incident does not count. 05-blank. Description: SCP-44 is a howitzer secretly manufactured in the late stages of World War II by corrupt engineers, personally supervised by Albert Spener, German Minister of Armaments and War Production under Adolf Hitler. SCP-44 is unique not only because of its size, 251,000 kilograms or 251 metric tons, but also because it fires unconventional artillery using an atypical delivery method. Rather than having a breech for loading shells, the rear of the barrel is configured into a massive air compression chamber. Any object or pile of objects that fit may be loaded into SCP-44's muzzle and be used as ammunition. Because of its size, SCP-44 must remain rail-mounted and requires 2 freight locomotives to move. Researchers believe that SCP-44 weakens molecular and atomic bonds in any material loaded into its muzzle. However, the method at which SCP-44 affects molecular bonds is not known, due primarily to the numerous complex mechanisms that compose the housing and workings of SCP-44. In fact, some mechanisms appear useless and seem to do nothing other than spin or make noise, even when SCP-44 is not supplied with power. Both equipment and personnel have been lost while exploring the insides of SCP-44's barrel. When SCP-44 is fired, all matter within its barrel is ejected at a high rate of speed as a glowing red slug, proportional in size to the amount of mass loaded into the muzzle. Upon striking a solid object or the ground, the slug explodes with a yield proportional to the mass of the original ammunition at no less than blank % mass to energy conversion rate. This yield will also increase somewhat the longer the slug remains in the barrel. The greatest known yield was achieved when the administrator's 8,900 kilogram personal diesel pickup truck was loaded in its entirety into the muzzle of SCP-44 and fired in the pictured experiment. And it's like a small mushroom cloud type experiment in the field. And that is SCP-44. Onto SCP-45. Yes. Okay, so SCP-45 is called Atmospheric Converter. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-45 is to be kept affixed to an examination platform in a hemispherical chamber measuring 5 meters in radius at the Oceanographic Research Station 12, located at blank blank on the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean. The chamber is to be kept filled with gaseous neon at the equilibrium pressure with the surrounding environment. The chamber is to be separated from habitable portions of the station by 5 meters of local seawater, and all interactions with SCP-45 are to be performed via telepresence or robotic means. The bindings that attach SCP-45 to its platform are fitted with quick-release latches, which are to be released when necessary to prevent containment breach. Given the seismic activity associated with SCP-45, if the containment chamber is damaged or breached by seismological activity, SCP-45 should be recovered by remotely controlled drone vehicles and kept at least 10 meters from human-inhabited spaces until such a time that repairs can be completed to the optimal containment chamber. Description: SCP-45 is an isocahedron composed of ice-12, a metastable form of water ice that is typically formed only within a narrow range of very high temperatures. Heavily occluded with planar fractures in a regular complex pattern. SCP-45 has an average radius of 1.7 meters and a density of 2.6 grams per centimeter cubed, which is approximately twice that of non-anomalous ice-12. SCP-45 remains in a stable state at temperatures ranging from 0.074 to 500 Kelvin, approximately negatives 273 degrees centigrade to 227 degrees centigrade, and pressures ranging from 0.4 pascals to 3 gigapascals, approximately 3.9 microatmospheres to 29,600 atmospheres. Although it is possible to melt or vaporize SCP-45 at temperatures and pressures outside of those ranges, the H2O involved is attracted to itself by unknown means and will remain very close, within very close proximity unless forcefully separated. The water will refreeze as soon as conditions return to a position inside SCP-45's stable range, and any sub-portions kept separate prior to refreezing will freeze into similar isocohedrons identical in form and properties to the total amount of SCP-45. Based on the available space, it is currently believed that SCP-45 is a three-dimensional projection of a hypoisocohedron, a regular polyhedron that exists in a four-dimensional space and has 600 regular tetrahedral facets. Research is ongoing to determine how SCP-45 is able to maintain a stable lower dimensional projection, and whether this can be adapted for use when interacting with other dimensionally anomalous SCP items. At unpredictable intervals ranging from 2 weeks to 3 months, SCP-45 will spontaneously rotate around multiple axes simultaneously for a period no longer than 73 seconds. During this period, a series of small seismic events, below 2.5 on the Richter scale, will occur in the immediate area of SCP-45. If SCP-45 is prevented from rotating, the seismic events will increase in strength logarithmically to a maximum of 5.3 on the Richter scale. Following the end of the rotation period, the radius of SCP-45's effects will temporarily double for the same amount of time that it rotated. When gaseous nitrogen or argon come within 3.7 meters of any portion of SCP-45, nitrogen composes approximately 78% of the Earth's atmosphere by volume. Argon composes approximately 0.93 of the Earth's atmosphere by volume. They are replaced by different compounds. N2 is replaced by liquid water at a conversion rate of 1 molecule of N2, which is nitrogen, to 1.98 molecules of H2O, and argon is replaced with crystalline NaCl, table salt, at a conversion rate of 1 molecule per argon to 4.26 molecules of table salt. SCP-45 was discovered in 1972 when a Foundation submarine scouting the Pacific Abysmal Plain for suitable locations for an undersea bases was diverted to investigate the epicenter of a series of unexpectedly localized strong tremors. SCP-45 was found lodged in a crevice which had apparently prevented it from rotating. When removed from the crevice, it was brought towards the vessel for further study and, upon coming within range of the interior atmosphere, exhibited its anomalous effect. This resulted in a catastrophic breach of internal containment protocols and the loss of 12 crew members prior to SCP-45 being released and the submarine moving out of range. Addendum. Following several years of testing, it was accidentally discovered that SCP-45 also converts hydrogen gas into a random mixture of simple amino acids at a rate of 1 molecule of hydrogen to 0.04 molecules of amino acids. However, this conversion rate only occurs when the gas is diffused in saline water, such as that produced by SCP-45. Analysis of the sea floor surrounding the location of where SCP-45 was discovered has revealed a large community of microfauna and microflora, which that is approximately 3 times as diverse as would be expected given the geography and location. All have biochemistry wherein the amino acids have produced by SCP-45 are statistically overabundant as compared to microbiota from similar geological regions. Additionally, all thrive when immersed in pure salt water, devoid of any other organic material. So that is SCP-45, and I think that's it for today. So, Thank you guys so much for listening. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because why not? It's free. And anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, bye.